Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. And joining me in studio this morning is Miss Anika Watkins Porter. Of course, she's the host of the Entrepreneurial You. But today we're going to talk a little bit about leadership and, more importantly, mentorship in leadership. Anika, welcome.
So good to be here. I feel like
Yes.
I'm at home. So thanks for having me,
Oh,
Nielsen.
welcome home.
Thank you.
Henika, you know, the question of leadership and mentorship, something that's very important, yet few people pay the kind of attention that need to be paid to it. Talk to me about how important it is for leaders to even understand the concept of leadership.
I like that preamble that you've started with, Nielsen. Like many of us, we get thrown into leadership, leadership roles without having been taught how to be a leader, having been mentored on how to be a leader. We pay attention to the marketing skills and those what we call hard skills, how to do this, how to take care of that, how to manage and so on. But we don't really teach how to lead. And the most important thing I believe in leadership is first, we must know how to lead ourselves,
Ah,
right? And it is in that mentorship that we now learn so that we can pass it on. In my own experience, my own leadership journey, I never necessarily had in corporate world, because I started in corporate before I started my own business. I never had a quote unquote leadership role at
Yes.
all, managerial or supervisory role or anything, right? I left at the top scale, as it were, at a administrative level, But I found as I started my own business, Pato Apparel, my first business, I recognized that I'd learned a lot on the job, over time. But what I really missed in retrospect is the ability to be emotionally intelligent, the ability to be empathetic, the ability to just lead effectively. So, for example, when I would, try and direct my team, it was more about wanting my team to be exactly like I was, right? So the same passion and the drive and the vision. And when it wasn't happening, then I became frustrated. And as I subscribed to this mantra, hire slow, fire fast.
okay.
So I would get rid of persons that, quickly, because they're just not cutting it, right? And whereas that has its place, I also acted very naively, very, very naively. And it wasn't until I began to get the kind of mentorship that would guide me into being a better leader that I realized, and I'm still on that path of learning. But for example, on my journey as the CEO and founder of Pato Apparel back in the day, that clothing line, I was part of the Brand Center of Entrepreneurship, and I was assigned a mentor. And the truth is, that first mentor that I was assigned, we just never connected. It never worked out at all. And I asked to be matched with somebody else, another mentor. And I tell you, man, first he was able to. First of all, even though that first mentor and I never really, hit it off or anything like that, he did one thing for me. He was able to guide me into understanding my vision, right? My why, understanding my why. And it was in doing that my business began to change. And so by the time I got to my second mentor on that in that business, I realized that he was now guiding me in a way that, although, he used to say to me, like, because he's from Barbados, he used to say to me, God, may his soul rest in peace, he just passed recently. He used to say to me, are all Jamaican women like you? Because, I was adamant on certain things. But even though I had my, strong personality and everything, I was able to listen to him. So, for example, when I started the entrepreneurial you, I was kind of transitioning from a brick and mortar into being having an online business. When I started, that journey, he would say to me, because I was, interviewing all these amazing folks on the Entrepreneurial You podcast, Richard Branson, etc., all these big names on the podcast, and I wanted to leverage that to start at my own conference. And I was, working on it and sending it out proposals to companies, and it wasn't hitting any target really. But then he said to me, whatever you're doing, and I remember this distinctly, whatever you're doing, try and benchmark LeaderCast. At the time, I didn't know what LeaderCast was, right? But when he said that, I began to do my own research. And I realized that it was an amazing brand. It's a US-based leadership brand. And so because I used the podcast to open the door, I introduced myself, and they got back to me and they said, yes, I'd love to partner with you, And so there began a partnership between LeaderCast and the Entrepreneurial You, one of my most powerful partnerships to date. Right now, to the point now that I'm also a member of the advisory board on LeaderCast, the only black person, the only non-US person, right, that has been sitting on the board. And so for me, it was through mentorship. It was through having this second pair of ears to bounce ideas off, and he was able to see my blind spot, the spots that I can't see. He was able to see and guide me. So to answer your question, I took a long time. I brought you on a journey to answer this question, but I believe telling the story was important. And so, mentorship, without mentorship, you're like, you're going to be making some missteps and falling. When you have somebody to guide you, it prevents you from making, the extra mistake. Not that you're not going to make mistakes.
So it is then, Henika, when we're talking, because a lot of time we look at leaders and we expect them to be, that person out there who knows it all and is carrying it. You're saying to us that, leadership sometimes need a little intervention. They also need to be taught. It's not the old concept of leaders are born or...
Absolutely not. You learn how to become a leader, and it's an ongoing process. You never ever arrived, right? For me, one of the most powerful concepts that I have had to learn on my leadership journey is emotional intelligence. Being able to read the room, being able to hear the things that are not said, being able to empathize. And one of the things as a leader that I'm, I would say, struggling with right now is the interesting thing. So I have this social enterprise called Grace to Grow. And it's about that. It's about giving people grace to grow, right? But on one hand, I know that I need to give people the grace to grow, allow them to make their mistakes and so on. But then on the other hand, there is me now trying to do that harmony, that dance between the grace and holding people accountable, right? And not, and so with leadership, you learn that first you build relationships and then you can correct. Because if you try to correct somebody that you don't necessarily have a relationship with and you haven't built a relationship, you're going to get rebellion, right? And so navigating that aspect of leadership for me, I've had to be intentional about it, putting myself emotionally into the shoe of somebody else, because that's what empathy really is. You being able to put yourself in the shoe of somebody else, you being able to be 100% honest with yourself, reflect, where did I go wrong? Like every time something happens, I'm now leading a global team for my social enterprise. I have a team of advisors who are from Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, my board of directors that are based in Jamaica, my project team led by somebody that is in India. We have persons from Uganda, from Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, England on the team. And then our participants, mainly from Jamaica, or mentees, mainly from Jamaica, but we also have persons outside. In Trinidad, we've had somebody in Trinidad, in Canada, in the UK, in Cameroon, and so on. Leading a global team every time something happens, I've had to pause and say to myself, Henika, where did you go wrong? Let's retrace your steps. Because when you're dealing with people in different time zones, different personalities, a ton of idiosyncrasies, and you have not one, because this is something I don't get paid for. It's a global organization, a registered entity that mentors women for free. So we depend on donor funding. We depend on funding from corporates, right? Yes, we're a social enterprise, and so we have our activities that we do to make fun. So, for example, this year we did a vision board party. Now we're hosting LeaderCast, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. So navigating all of this, right, while I'm trying to do my other things so that I can feed myself, right?
Yeah,
I can
which
do the
is
workshops.
important.
I can do my TV show. I can do the podcast. I can do, like right now I'm also leading a conference, a leadership conference to the Bahamas called Leadership, and that's happening in November. So doing all of these things, you get a little short fuse at times, right? And you've had to step back. And so I've had to think about, I remember even too, just as I'm talking and navigating my leadership journey and realizing the mentors I've had, one of my greatest mentors has been Dr. Ensombe Jajo.
Oh.
Yes, man. I remember my first LeaderCast conference, for example, where I was a caller to throw a pity party, like I really wanted, I sent out invitation to my pity party, and I was hoping that she would accept the invitation. And no, she's like, and she gave me a proverbial slap, like, no, in the rear end, like, no, this is not, you're not going to do this. This is what you're going to do, right? And I remember hosting my first LeaderCast event, and it was so beautiful. And then whilst in that LeaderCast event, because it's a streamed event from overseas, and so you were seeing some ads coming on about upcoming events. One of them was LeaderCast Women. And I'm there praying, as I'm seeing the ad, I'm like praying, dear God, in my heart, dear God, don't let Ensombe see the ad about LeaderCast Women, because she's going to say to me, Henika, you're doing LeaderCast Women next time. I'm like, she saw it and I'm like, Henika, you're doing LeaderCast Women, right? And as they say, it's history. So I've done 2 LeaderCast Women in Jamaica, 2 General LeaderCast before. And it was her guidance, right? And also birth, the idea to have a conference, to have LeaderCast at sea, right? So that's why we're now having, the leadership event, where we have all the LeaderCast, crew, and then we have the CEO sending messages and so on. So all of this showing you how I'm connecting the importance of having mentorship. You need somebody to believe in you when you don't have the strength to believe in yourself, because many times on this journey, you need somebody to believe on your behalf.
It sounds a little different from the picture we have of a leader. Eh?
Yes.
So normally, you're down here, the team is here, you're seeing the leader up there. You're not seeing somebody who needs this help, who needs this guidance, because that person is the rock. That person is...
Look here, Nielsen, let me tell you something. One of the things I've had to learn on this journey is humility. And any leader who projects themselves as, I'm here, and you're down there, believe me, they're not leaders. They're not. Ego has no place in leadership. Absolutely no place in leadership. I've had to know how to apologize. And it's not just saying, I'm sorry. It's about looking at the situation, saying to the person, Nathan, what I did was wrong. When I did so and so, when I said so and so, it was wrong. It sent a negative message to you. It sends the wrong message. And I'm sorry. And be genuine about it. You can't, I am the CEO, I am the founder, and what I say go. Listen, I've had to throw my ego all the way to the door. And sometimes I wonder, Henika, have you just let go, control? But yes, you have to, right? In order to influence people, in order to lead people, you first have to be led, or being able to be led. Because if you don't know how to...
many would say, Henika, that's a weak leader that you
No, that's where strength is. Strength comes in vulnerability, and that is something I learned. When I can go to my team and I say to my team, I am fresh out of ideas. I really don't know what to do, and I need you.
That's inclusive.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, and I'm not going to pretend like I know what to do. I don't have it all together. Back in the day, the ego, the ego that will just present you at the door and like, I got this. No, I don't know what to do. I need your help. And so when persons that's how you build connection. That's how you build rapport, right? And a big part of this for me, Nielsen, I talk about LeaderCast so much because it has been a very, very big part of my journey, of my leadership journey. Because fundamentally, it's all about developing leaders that are worth following.
I like the fact that you went there because a lot of times we have people who are leaders, but somehow it's lost on them that in order to lead, somebody has to follow you. And unless you can convince, motivate, inspire people to follow you, then you are not leading at all.
You have to, and so first you have, before you lead anybody else, lead yourself. Check in with yourself. I often, like, my emotions, I have to check in with my emotions so frequently. And I have to peel back okay, Henika, how are you feeling right now? Like, because I can feel when I move from feeling, like, I can even, when there's a slight shift in my energy and my emotion. And I oftentimes ask myself, why am I feeling this way? And I, Henika, why are you feeling this way? And you pinpoint some, oh, you started feeling that way when Nielsen entered the room. And like, why did you feel that way when Nielsen entered the room? Oh, because yesterday he said, that skirt that you wear, it's ugly. And why when Nielsen said that skirt that you wore is ugly, offended you? What? Oh, because maybe so it's triggering because of what was said to me in the past. And so you have to begin to peel back the onion and take the layers off to check in with yourself. And so you being able to do that, you can empathize when somebody is having an off day. Because not every day is going to be like, life has ebbs and flows.
How important is it for a leader to understand the people that he or she leads?
Oh, Lord. Ooh, very, very important. And you're never, ever going to, be in total understanding and know everything about, who you're leading. But one thing, so what I've had to learn, and why when it came to me as a vision to start Grace to Grow, God has a great sense of humor because I needed to give people grace. Because for me, it was either black or white. But you know what? I found out that emotional intelligence resides in the gray areas. And so because I recognize that people are not robots, this is how you expect it to go, this is a system, this is a structure. But hey, what are the other variables? The variables such as, maybe your team member is having an off day because her mom isn't well. Maybe she's having marital problems. Maybe something is off. And so those, in econ, when back in the day, I never did like econ and I had 6 form, But back in the day, they talk about ceteris paribus, when you hold all of the factors, all held constant, right? All of the factors held constant, right? We can hold other factors in the variables in people's lives constant, right? So that is where the emotional intelligence comes in.
So that only works for maths.
No, apparently not. It works in other areas of life too. So yes.
You keep going to LeaderCast.
Yes.
You do have a LeaderCast event coming up.
Yes, I do. And again, I speak so highly of LeaderCast because truly it has been transformational on my leadership journey. And not just me. Like, when I hear the testimonials of people, I mean, when they talk about Zoya Samuels, and I get to your question in a bit, in a fulsome way, but when I hear like people like Zoya Williams and Zoya Salmon Powell, Zoya Salmon Powell talks about LeaderCast and how it has transformed her life. I mean, she did her MBA with the Jack Welch University as a result of an opportunity that came through LeaderCast, and she got partial, what's the word I'm looking for? Tuition coverage, something.
Oh.
Well, senior moment, scholarship. That's the word. Scholarship. Right. She got partial scholarship and got to sit on the board and was flown up, all expense paid and stuff. LeaderCast did that. Michelle Sinclair Doyley, who came in very frustrated and having some thoughts and not discomfort with where the trajectory of her life was, and she speaks highly of that. So many other persons have spoken so highly of LeaderCast. I mean, it is now in its 25th year.
Wow.
Initially, let me give you a little history.
Yes.
Initially started by John Maxwell. And then when John
The John
Maxwell,
Maxwell.
yeah, the John Maxwell, and when John Maxwell was going in retirement, he started, and it was Paul Martinelli who brought him out of retirement. I said, no, and so he started with Paul Martinelli. That's John. The John Maxwell team, where they started Live to Lead, right? So there is that. So Live to Lead and LeaderCast, I like to say. I like to share the history because they are really interwoven, right? So it has been around for 25 years, having the most impactful speakers from around the globe on that platform. You don't walk away with just platitude and just hearing things like, be determined and persevere. We hear all the time, but you actually get actionable steps, practical things to do to get you from point A to point B. You want to level up your leadership, you want to be a different person, you need to become a leader worth following. LeaderCast is the place to go. And so I've hosted for those events in Jamaica before COVID and before streaming made all of these things, right? I was doing that. Yay. Give myself a pat on the back. I'll give myself roses. I don't mind sending myself flowers. So started it then, and now resuming, post-COVID. But previously when I hosted it, right, it was for my own brand, the Anika Watkins Porter brand. But now it is for a cause. Right? It is for Grace to Grow. So all the proceeds, all the net proceeds from that event will go towards funding the programs that we offer through Grace to Grow, which was recently nominated in the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce Awards. Yay. And you can find out more about Grace to Grow, thank you, at gracetogrowglobal.com. And of course, tickets to LeaderCast happening on October 7 at the summit. That is, you can go to spiropen.com/leadercast. They're having speakers like Andy Stanley, Dominique Dawes, Hal Elrod, there's Jesse Cole, and these are amazing. Just check them out on all of these speakers that I call. Check them out online and you'll know what I'm talking about. And then our own local speaker, Rochelle Cameron, will hit the stage, right? And we're also we're combining this year the graduation of cohorts 5 and 6 for the women who have gone through the Grace to Grow program. And we've combined it within the LeaderCast event. So taking one stone, as my grandmother said, and kill two birds, right? So all net proceeds will go to Grace to Grow mentorship and training.
Tell me why someone should attend LeaderCast this year.
Very, very powerful question. Don't do anything without a why, right? You need a strong why. The theme this year for LeaderCast is Legacy of Impact. Oftentimes, we don't think about our legacy, or we think about maybe we just think about people behind us will say, what it is that she was known for, or whatever it is, or he was known for, and we don't think about the legacy that we want to leave. In fact, there's I know for a fact, Andy Stanley is doing a session that will take you through your legacy, creating your legacy statement, so you have something actionable to leave with. And say, this is what I want to accomplish. And that is important for you to leave something behind. May those who come behind you find you faithful. It's very, very important. And as a result of that, we have the speakers that have been selected by LeaderCast will ensure that you create your legacy of impact. But not only your legacy, what are you doing on the job today? What are you doing in your career path today? What are you doing within your business today, in your relationships? We're going to look at all of that. And you're going to you feel stuck? If you're feeling stuck, right, you're going to actually get some tools. Like it's Hal Elrod who talks about, it's John Gordon, the positive leadership. So John Gordon We talk about positive leadership, and it's all about elevating your leadership. They're not teaching you on the job or in school in a degree how to become a leader. You go to events like these and you learn how to become a better leader. And put yourself, immerse yourself into the atmosphere, immerse yourself into the space that will stretch you, right? What they used to think that at one point that the brain is not elastic. They found that it's elastic, and if you can stretch and you can have a new form, in terms of what it is that you are absorbing, the space that you're getting into. So do not miss your opportunity to understand how to create your legacy of impact, how to get from point A to point B, how to become a positive leader. Too much leader, they both were too toxic, man. Come on, man, let's shift that.
All right, I like that.
Yes, spuropen.com/leadercast.
And LeaderCast is on October
7 at the summit.
At the summit.
Yes.
How to have a positive impact, how to leave a lasting legacy. LeaderCast, October 7th at the summit. Come out, improve your own leadership, and be mentored to take your game a notch higher. Anika Watkins Porter, we've been chatting with her, and she's leading off on the road to success. As we always say here and Let's Talk Stocks, we give you information to make better financial decisions. Come back with us tomorrow morning at 9. Another wonderful program lined up for you.